Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a horror film, WYRMWOOD Part 2, Apocalypse. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. A comet fell on Earth, and coincidentally a zombie infection outbreak began. Those who breathe the air are instantly infected and turn into zombies. However, those who have a negative blood type seem to be immune from the infection. Since then, a group of scientists and paramilitaries have created a team to seek a cure for the zombie infection. The paramilitaries are hunting for a specimen, which can be experimented with by the scientist. One of the caught specimens, Brooke, is able to escape with the help of her brother, Barry. After being subject to the experiment, Brooke now appears to become a hybrid zombie who has the capacity to telepathically control the zombies. After they escape, they are able to kill paramilitaries with the help of Barry's trusted friend, who unfortunately died. After some time, Brooke turns into a zombie form as she fights the paramilitaries. Two women, Maxie and Grace, who turns out to be the nephews of Barry's friend, find her biting the paramilitaries. She then bites Grace in the neck, so Barry attempts to restrain her. To turn her back into a human, Barry gives her a dosage of antidote blood. Maxie and Grace remain on guard and seem to not trust them. Grace shoots an arrow at Barry, but fortunately, he's able to catch it with his hormone-let-go hands. After that, Grace and Maxie leave both of them and declare that they are monsters. The following day, Rhys, an independent soldier who serves the scientist, wakes up from his improvised base. He finished his routine and came out of his base, with some zombies awaiting him. He shoots at them, and a horde of zombies begins flocking towards his base. So he throws meat to lure them away. He then rides his heavily armored car and drives away to hunt specimens for the experiment. Later, while waiting, he encounters a suspicious man riding a motorcycle. He shoots the man's motorcycle, making it crash. He walks down and restrains the man. After that, he delivers the man to the lab to serve as an experimental specimen. The scientist then says they need to hunt Brooke, who killed the brother of Rhys. Meanwhile, the injured Grace and Maxie are driving along the way. Grace suddenly suffers from the biting pain and turns into a sexy zombie. Maxie gives her a dosage of blood, which turns her back into a human. Apparently, Grace is also a hybrid zombie. Just then, Rich shoots an explosive at their car, making it crash. The impact makes Maxie unconscious, so Grace stands up to hide, while Rhys slowly approaches them. Grace throws a grenade at him, and it explodes, making him fall. She then attacks him with a bat, but Rhys manages to shield it away. He drops his gun, and she picks it up. She repeatedly shoots at him, but he manages to shield the bullets. The gun runs out of bullets soon, so he retaliates and gets his other gun. He shoots at her, which makes her unconscious, allowing him to restrain her. He then drives to deliver her back to the lab. After he leaves, Maxie wakes up and walks out of the car, finding Grace is already gone. Back in the lab, the scientist continues getting blood samples, which he turns into an antidote. Apparently, the scientist is already infected by the zombies. He's now using the antidote to temporarily prevent himself from becoming a zombie. As he's intaking the antidote, the commander and another soldier walk in. The soldier sees the scientist is already infected, so he attempts to shoot the scientist. However, the commander shoots the soldier first, allowing the scientist to live. It turns out the commander is also infected and in need of an antidote from the scientist. So the scientist suggests that they get Brooke as soon as possible to create a permanent antidote against the infection. Meanwhile, Rhys arrives outside the lab, delivering Grace to the commander and declares she's a hybrid zombie. The soldiers try to get her, but she suddenly turns into a zombie, attacking them. Rhys then lets her drink her blood antidote, turning her back into a human. The soldier takes Grace inside. Rhys asks the commander if she's the key to the cure, but the commander tells him to just follow the orders. He then leaves the lab in disappointment. Along the way, his car stops working, since the zombie stops providing fuel for it. Apparently, the zombies breathe the fuel, which allows them to release fuel. So he takes out meat to call another zombie, which he can use to make the car work. He rides his car and drives away, while Maxie secretly rides in the back of his car. He drives to the warehouse to deliver items to the assistant scientist. Meanwhile, Maxie remains hidden behind his car. After that, Rhys drives back home. He walks inside and checks his pill supply. He listens to a meditating sound and begins resting. Suddenly, the electricity turns off, prompting him to check outside. He finds nothing and walks back inside. There, Maxie ambushes him and instantly shoots him with an improvised gun, putting him to sleep. The following day, Rhys wakes up completely tied up. Maxie interrogates him about Grace's whereabouts. But Riss says they need to treat her wounds first since they can be infected. So she unties him and allows him to treat her wounds while she points the harpoon at him. After that, she commands him to drive the car towards Grace's location. Along the way, Maxie asks Riss about the pills. He replies that the pills are antiviral, which prevents him from being infected by the air. She then sees Brooke's photo in his car, so she gets curious. Riss reveals that they are considering Brooke a terrorist, and he is hunting her down. As Maxie keeps talking, Riss takes the chance to pull a lever, which kicks her ass out of the car. He immediately shoots her, putting her to sleep. He ties her in the car and continues to drive. He brings Maxie to the lab later, and the soldier gets her. The commander utters that she will end up in a barrel, prompting Riss to think that they will harm her. So Riss gets his improvised gun and shoots at the commander and his soldiers. He then tells Maxie to get back to the car, and they drive away together. Along the way, the military truck chases them. Maxie gets the gun and shoots back at it. Riss activates the car's booster, allowing them to get farther away from the military truck. Unfortunately, the military truck manages to catch up with them. So Maxie pulls the lever, kicking herself out of the car, leaving Riss alone. The military shoots his car, allowing the commander to capture him. The commander and his soldiers tie him up in the tree in a hanging position. They then leave him alone, and the soldier hands him the middle finger. The commander plans to let the zombies eat Riss, starting from his feet up to his stomach. In a few moments, the zombies flock toward him, following his smelly hormones. In response, he uses his strength to raise his legs to avoid being eaten by the zombies. However, he eventually loses strength, and his legs fall down. Fortunately, the 3 survivors arrive in time. Brooke controls the zombie, stopping them from devouring him. They then bring him to their base and tie him up. They are angry with him for bringing Grace to the lab, but they decide to spare his shitty life since he saved Maxie. So the agitated Brooke asks him if they are on their side. In response, he declares that he's on their team. The following day, they raid the warehouse. Brooke uses her power to control zombies, allowing them to fight against the guards. They then enter the warehouse and capture the assistant scientist. Riss learns that the people he handed over to the lab are being subject to cruelty. So he feels guilty about it, and he learns the commander and the scientist are deceiving him. He asks the assistant scientist why they put the people in the barrel. The assistant scientist replies they are using the bodies to create the antiviral pills. He feels guilty for taking the antiviral pills made by the victims, so he repeatedly shoots the assistant scientist out of rage. After that, they plan to raid the lab. They arrive in the lab and put zombies into the tunnel, which attack the soldiers inside. The commander and the scientist watch them from the surveillance camera inside. The soldier prevents them from going inside, so they shoot their ass away. The commander rushes to close the security door, but Barry immediately hijacks its mechanism, leaving it open. Maxie enters through the tunnel, while the others enter the front door. Maxie shoots the operator, allowing her to operate the cameras and doors inside. She then opens the door in the hallways, allowing the others to walk through the lab. The commander instructs the scientists to guard Grace and leaves the lab to confront them. Brooke uses her telepathic power and communicates with Grace. She then confirms to the team that Grace is still alive inside. Brooke enters the other room with her zombies, but the scientist suddenly closes the door, leaving Brooke trapped inside. The scientist lets out the cyborg zombie. It is a powerful zombie which can be controlled by a scientist using technology. The cyborg zombie punches Brooke, knocking her out in an instant. Meanwhile, the commander, who had already captured Maxie, arrives outside. He then orders Barry and Riss to drop their gun, or he will shoot her. Left without a choice, the two drop their guns. The commander shoots Barry non-fatally, making him suffer in pain. Riss activates the cabinet, which hits the commander, allowing Riss to fight back. They continue their fast and furious fighting, until the commander knocks Riss off. Barry crawls to get the gun, but the commander notices him. The commander picks him up and pinches his wounds. Inside the room, the cyborg zombie attempts to choke the helpless Brooke to death. Fortunately, Grace manages to telepathically control the mechanism of the cyborg zombie. The scientist then loses control of the cyborg hand, and it prompts him to punch himself. At the same time, the cyborg zombie in front of Brooke begins punching itself. The scientist uses his other hand and electrocutes Grace, putting her to sleep. He then regains control and manipulates the cyborg zombie to choke Brooke again. Outside, the commander gets the shotgun to shoot Riss, but the lights suddenly turn off as Brooke manages to get the wire from the electricity supply and uses it to electrocute the cyborg zombie. Maxie, who somehow manages to get a gun, suddenly appears behind the commander. She instantly blows the commander's head using the gun. Meanwhile, the scientist calls for backup on the radio. Brooke and the remaining 3 reunite on the other side. However, Brooke is in zombie form and begins to be dangerous, prompting them to protect themselves from her. They are out of blood antidote, so they plan to use the blood from the refrigerator. Apparently, they can use any form of blood to calm Brooke down and turn her back into human form. Unfortunately, Brooke bites Barry before they can give her the blood. Brooke turns back into human form and is in distress to see Barry in pain. Barry tells Maxie to leave so she can save Grace from the scientist. However, the scientist manages to escape with the backup soldiers while taking away Grace. The scientist also activated the lab's self-destruct. Barry is slowly turning into a zombie because of the bite wounds, so they let Rhys and Maxie ride the tunnel shovel first, which delivers the two outside. The lab explodes while Barry and Brooke are still trapped inside. Rhys and Maxie ride the motorcycle to save Grace from the scientist. The scientist and the soldiers arrive in the improvised base of Rhys. They then get a blood transfusion machine inside. Apparently, the scientist needs treatment since he is about to turn into a zombie. The scientist puts the large needles inside Grace's nose and gets blood from her. He instructs the soldier to put the other large needles inside his nose. Grace's blood then gets transfused to the scientist. The soldiers figure out that he's already infected. Because of the transfusion, he turns into a hybrid zombie. He shoots the soldiers immediately because he doesn't need them anymore. Maxie and Rhys arrive at the improvised base soon and find the unconscious Grace lying on the table. The scientist suddenly appears behind Rhys and knocks him out. The scientist drags Maxie and puts her in the cage. After that, he continues to beat Rhys and mocks him for bringing victims to the lab, which allows the scientist to create an antidote that keeps himself alive. The scientist attempts to break his skull. Fortunately, Grace wakes up and instantly stabs the scientist. Grace is in zombie form, so she relentlessly tears the scientist apart. After that, she attempts to attack Rhys, but she manages to get blood in time. She then calms down and turns back to human form. She goes to Maxie, and they hug as they finally get reunited. Rhys stands and gets his gun. He kills the scientist by shooting him in the head. After that, he feels guilty for bringing victims to the lab, so he attempts to kill himself, but Grace prevents him from doing that. Maxie tells him to keep taking the pills, so he can continue to live longer and help them fight for humanity. In the end, it's revealed that Barry and Brooke are now both hybrid zombies and managed to survive the explosion. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.